May 28, Spirit Courthouse, Courtroom Number 3.
Court will reconvene for the trial of Jake Hunter. Before the recess, the defense brought up some points that revealed the defendant could not have used the murder weapon properly. However, it has also been brought to light that he still has a possible motive for murder. Therefore, he is still under suspicion. Mr. Ratigan, have you prepared the witnesses for testifying on this matter?
Of course, Your Honor. Long story short, the defendant killed the victim because he feared for his own life. After all, the victim was once a fierce criminal. Our witnesses will now come to the stand and testify in detail about this topic. Witnesses, are you certain you're all prepared to do this?
Yes, Mr. Ratigan. I can explain this easily.
Of course. You know I'm ready for anything.
Personally, I think this trial should have been over long ago.
A motive is a valid case to make in any trial, so obviously we need to disprove the theory that Hunter had any kind of motive.
Are you ready for this testimony, Wilde?
As ready as I'll ever be. I have no idea what to expect. Well then, you will find out very soon. Good luck.
Witnesses, you may begin your testimony.
Mock testimony. Hunter's motive.
I know exactly why Hunter decided to kill his assailant. The weasel was a dangerous criminal.
If I were the defendant, I definitely would have tried to defend myself as well.
Of course it wasn't first instinct for him to kill. I remember they struggled with each other a little bit.
It was only after a couple of beatings were taken that Hunter decided to end it all right there.
Anyone in their right mind could see that this could set up a motive for the defendant. Due to the defendant's frantic and unthoughtful nature, I am personally not surprised.
It seems the prosecutor is very determined to end this case swiftly. The poor soul. He has no proper sense of justice.
Nick, do you think it's possible to find a contradiction that proves there's no motive?
At the moment it doesn't seem that way, but based on what I've seen so far in this trial, there may be more than one way to prove it.
You talk far too much, Mr. Wilde. Stop delaying the court to begin your cross-examination already.
You poor soul. No proper sense of justice. Hey, don't steal my lines. Anyway, I'm ready for the cross-examination now.
Just do it already.
Cross-examination. Hunter's motive.
I know exactly why Hunter decided to kill his assailant. The weasel was a dangerous criminal.
Hold it! How do you know that for sure? Or rather, how do you know that Hunter knew that?
Our realms may be nearly parallel, but news travel far regardless. Several spirits are able to catch glimpses of the physical world and report it to all their friends. News around here spreads almost as fast as gossip. It didn't take long to hear that this weasel had been part of a bombing, especially since he turned up in this realm not long after the event happened.
I guess people really have a reputation once they die, whether in our world or this one.
If I were the defendant, I definitely would have tried to defend myself as well.
Hold it! So, you're saying you'd rather fight against him than flee?
Hey, I may not look the part, but I can definitely put up a fight when I want to. Plus, I've got my own soul weapon and spirit arts as well. I could definitely use some more practice with them too.
And the conclusion from this is you're willing to murder to protect yourself? I can't tell if that's admirable or just plain creepy.
Of course it wasn't first instinct for him to kill. I remember they struggled with each other a little bit.
Hold it! You said that before, didn't you? I thought you said you weren't really interested in that.
I may not have been interested in the defendant personally, but I'd love seeing a good fight. They were taking swings at each other like there was no tomorrow. But in all honesty, it ended up being more of a sissy fight. But what does it matter? What matters is that in the end, the weasel died. By the paws of that wolf!
The court will remain calm. Witness, please refrain from making harsh accusations unless you have evidence to back yourself up.
Right. Apologies, Your Honor.
We've got both a determined prosecutor and a determined witness. Hopefully it's not going to be more than 2 against 1.
It was only after a couple of beatings were taken that Hunter decided to end it all right there.
Hold it! Are you saying that there was some damage inflicted on both of them? I don't see any damage on the defendant at all.
It's hard to see from where we're standing, but when I saw the assault, I know for a fact some hits were landed. I saw Hunter had some small marks on his face and shoulder.
Huh?
Hang on! Wait a second. Wolf, is there something on your mind?
Huh? You're talking to me now? I kinda had a thought when Thomas was talking there.
I noticed that too. You started acting a bit strange when Thomas was mentioning the injuries on Hunter. Why is that?
I'll be straightforward with you. Even though I was watching that fight, I never saw any injuries on Hunter. Also, I wasn't even entirely aware that spirits could receive injuries.
But that is true. Spirits can get hurt just as easily as physical beings. They can even make the mistake of hurting themselves.
Is that so? I guess that explains how this happened.
Your paw! It's...
Bandaged. Wrapped up tight. It was the strangest thing, too. Sometime before the murder, I was digging in the ground out of boredom. Then my paw hit a buried stone. Pretty hard, too. The force caused my claws to come clean off. I could feel my life force draining. Good thing I had the knowledge to come up with a makeshift bandage. Otherwise, I would have been dead where I stood. But what do you care? What does it matter that I injured myself? Why did we come to this topic in the first place?
Remember, we pressed you because you didn't recall either the victim or the defendant receiving any injuries, despite them getting into a struggle before the murder. Although Thomas seems to remember quite well that there were some hits taken. Is that correct?
Of course, Mr. Wilde. I would never lie to you intentionally.
Look at you now! If you haven't lied before, you did just then.
What do you mean, Mr. Wolf? I have nothing to hide.
You lying git. You're just saying all this to make me look bad. It's like you want us all dead. Oh, look at me, I have perfect testimonies. I never lie. Put a sock in it, will ya? I hate your boasting pie hole. You really think any of us can trust you? A stinking fox!
Oh, so now you have a problem with my species, is that it?
Oh my! Please, you two, calm down! There's no time for useless banter.
Hey, old timer, what's a big deal all of a sudden? You think that just because you look like you came out of some world, we should all listen to you without question? In this world, rank doesn't matter. No way, no how. How about you show some respect for once, huh?
What are you, school children? Save your pitiful insults for later. Now then, Mr. Wilde, you had a point in bringing up this whole matter.
Of course. As I was saying before Wolf so rudely interrupted me, our other witnesses have stated that both Hunter and Weaselton sustained some injuries. However, the autopsy report shows that no injuries were on the victim. Also, as we can clearly see right now, the defendant has no injuries on him either.
See? That lawyer and I just proved all of you wrong. Shows how worthless all the rest of you are.
Silence! Your boasting is irritating to say the least, Wolf. Even I can see the defense is still not finished. Maybe you'd like me to walk over there and make you shut up.
Actually, what I was about to say next can be proven with his help. Wolf, I need you to do something important. Wolf? I'd like you to remove your bandages for the court.
Are you insane? I'll faint right here if I do that.
Like I said, you're going to prove an important point by doing this, and I promise it won't cause you harm. So, if you would.
Fine. Don't say I didn't warn you, though. Nothing.
If this were my world, that paw would very likely still be bleeding. However, this is the spirit realm. The rules are a lot different here. In fact, the information we need is right here in our little encyclopedia. Injuries to a spirit still inflict pain, but due to their incomplete structure, it's not nearly as much as physical beings. Also, the injuries heal incredibly quickly, practically like they never happened in the first place. So in short, all of our witnesses are correct. While the defendant did suffer injuries, they were healed by the time Wolf had another good look at him.
So, that's why he was so aggressive.
Is something else on your mind, Wolf?
Yes, there's something else I've realized. That struggle. I remember it being more intense than it should have been. And with Thomas mentioning there were actually some injuries received, I realized something important. The victim's motive for attacking in the first place.
His motive, you say?
Yes, it's hatred, to the point of insanity. Given this certain weasel, I'm sure the others know what I'm talking about now.
Yes, I never thought we would have to bring it up.
Yeah, that's right. He had some bad feelings in him at the time.
The poor victim. He no longer had any idea of what was right and wrong.
I'm sure you're all eager to talk about it, so why not make this an official testimony? Go on now. Tell us about the victim's motive for attacking Mr. Hunter.
It appears we're getting somewhere interesting now. We've received an unexpected push towards the truth. Or at least, unexpected for the rest of the courtroom. Hey, don't look at me like I knew this was going to happen. I don't wear hoodies and speak theology like you do. Mob testimony. Weaselton's motive.
As sad and dark as it is, Hans Weaselton's motive for attacking was nothing but pure hatred.
Even before that bombing, he was known to be a very dirty and kind of crazy criminal.
He probably thought his death in the physical world was unfair, and he took his anger out on others.
His first target was Jake Hunter, one that shared his same feelings about death. But we saw how that turned out.
This testimony is definitely the most meaningful out of the ones we've heard thus far. But of course it is no surprise to hear that the victim attacked the defendant first. That was established from nearly the beginning. Despite this new information, I still don't see how it draws guilt away from Hunter. I don't see a need for any cross-examination, but if the defense insists on it...
Of course I insist. Think of how far we've gone just because of that.
Wake me up when the show's over.
Mr. Wilde, you may begin.
Gladly, Your Honor.
Actually, Your Honor, Mr. Wilde won't be performing this cross-examination.
He won't?
There's another member of the defense team that is perfectly capable of this. Alex Lykos, you lead the questioning this time.
Alex?
But me? Why are you putting me in the spotlight here? Like we said earlier, you have a role in the courtroom to play, and this is it. There is certain knowledge required here to find the contradiction. Your exceptional mind should be able to figure it out. But I've never done a cross-examination. I've never even been on a defense bench. You'll be fine, Alex. Get the gears moving in your head and face this mob with confidence. Right, I'll be fine.
Alex. He'll believe in the cross-examination by the Primal Spirit's request. Well, all I can say now is, good luck, Aller.
Well now, you've kept things interesting enough that I might just stay awake. Go on, Mr. Lykos. Humor me. I could use another good laugh.
You can go look for your laughs elsewhere, you rat.
Well then, Mr. Lykos, you may begin the cross-examination.
Cross-examination. Weaselton's motive.
As sad and dark as it is, Hans Weaselton's motive for attacking was nothing but pure hatred.
Hold it! Pure hatred, you say? But hatred for what?
Based on how he acted, I'd say it was hatred for all animals in existence. His jail time and his death during the bombing, not to mention his other crimes in the past, has only fueled his hatred of life in general. He's a very dark animal. I even wonder if this murder was maybe the right thing to do.
Man, I wasn't even involved in that bellwether trial, but this is scary as hell. I'm sure glad I never had to face him at any point.
Even before that bomb, he was known to be a very dirty and kind of crazy criminal.
Hold it! What specifically do you mean by dirty or crazy?
I remember Weaselton was a very shady character and never really gave a straight answer. However, in the crimes he got away with, he took things to pretty extreme measures. Back when I was alive, I remember hearing something about him in the news. It was a simple robbery, but he ended up shooting a witness in the head. He even shoot 3 cops who were pursuing him. Also, you should have seen him kicking and screaming when he finally got arrested and put in jail for good. Afterwards, people say he became really quiet, never really doing much in his cell. It felt to others like he had lost all emotion. He must have wanted to do anything to break out, including destroy the detention center. That's so dark.
Come on, Rico, don't slip the details. I want to hear all about this insane weasel. Not.
He probably thought his death in the physical world was unfair, and he took his anger out on others.
Hold it! Why would his death be unfair, as you say?
It was a very sudden death that he suffered. He had probably waited a long time to be free from prison. And then when he finally gets his opportunity, it's taken away from him. Just like that. Murdered by his own brother. I'm sure out of everyone, he now hates his brothers especially.
Well, from what I've seen, I'd say they're both equally insane. I really shouldn't be surprised.
His first target was Jake Hunter, one that shared his same feelings about death. But we saw how that turned out.
Hold it! He shared his same feelings. But what were these feelings about death?
Hans was obviously upset that his life was taken away from him so suddenly. He wanted others to feel his pain and sorrow. Jake Hunter died in a similar way, and as we learned earlier, he didn't really understand the concept of the spirit realm, nor did he really have an interest in it in the first place. Perhaps Hans wanted to join forces with Hunter, but Hunter's refusal is what caused the struggle. At least, that's my theory.
Good theory, I have to admit, but it's not exactly gonna help our case here. Fenrir, why'd you have to put me on the spot here? I'm no lawyer, I'm not analytical like Nick is. I can't find any contradictions here. Can't we prove Jake innocent some other way?
You okay there, Howler? You're starting to look pale.
Trust me, Alex, you have what it takes to find a contradiction. And you have the evidence to back yourself up. We believe in you. Look deep inside yourself for the answer. Such cliche advice. Real helpful, Fenrir.
As sad and dark as it is, Hans Weaselton's motive for attacking was nothing but pure hatred.
Even before that bomb, he was known to be a very dirty and kind of crazy criminal.
He probably thought his death in the physical world was unfair, and he took his anger out on others.
His first target was Jake Hunter, one that shared his same feelings about death. But we saw how that turned out.
Objection!
Well, we're waiting, Mr. Lykos.
Crap! Without thinking, I just shouted, objection! I still don't know what I'm supposed to be objecting to.
So you have nothing to say? Then stop wasting our time. For that stupid interruption, I think a penalty is in order.
Objection! Wait a second, I do have something to say. I just need some time to regather my thoughts. You're on the right track. This is why I chose you to cross-examine this time. There's something only you possess that can give us the lead we seek. You told me to look deep inside myself for the answer. So what could that mean? Wait, there is one thing, but he can't really mean this. Well, if Fenrir has trusted me, then I guess it won't hurt him trying. Take that! Here's why I objected. I had the evidence to prove Jake's innocence.
What is that? A sticker? Once again you prove that you are nothing more than a child. Get real, Mr. Lykos.
Is that a junior CPD sticker? Why are you presenting this?
If it hadn't been for meeting Nick and Judy so long ago, I never would have had this on hand. And I never thought it would become evidence. But this is my only chance. I won't let this opportunity go to waste. You witnesses seem to know a lot about the victim and the defendant. I admire you for that. However, you got one thing wrong. Jake Hunter does not share the victim's feelings about death. Let me ask you one thing. Do you know who Jake was before he died? You were focused so much on the victim, you never took the time to learn about the defendant. Well, I'll tell you exactly what he was. During his life, Jake Hunter was an officer for the ZPD.
An officer?
Oh, why?
No way!
Huh?
Exactly. That's why I presented a mere sticker as evidence, to show Jake's true nature. Personally, I have some bad experiences with him all throughout my life, but I know for a fact that Jake was a loyal cop who knew his duties very well. He knew what the ZPD stood for. He wanted to make the world a better place, and that's just what he did. Arresting criminals, investigating crimes, holding interrogations, even defending himself whenever he needed to. Even if he doesn't seem like the kindest to some of us, overall he was one of the best recruits the ZPD could have. Jake has a very clear sense of right and wrong, and when something doesn't go right, he takes it in stride. So even if he were to be confronted by a known criminal, he would never go as far as to murder him. In short, Jake does not share the victim's opinions in any way.
Order in the court. So, we've heard that conclusion, Mr. Lykos. But what is this supposed to prove?
I'm getting to the second part, Your Honor. We've made some pretty solid conclusions during this trial, but one thing the prosecution has been certain of is Jake's motive for killing the victim.
So you say there's no motive. Is that it?
Did you even listen to a word I said, Ratigan? Jake's personality has remained intact even after death. Nick here and several others could attest to that. So because of that, why would he ever in his right mind kill Hans Weaselton? It doesn't make sense, does it?
No!
So that settles it now, doesn't it? No potential weapons for Jake to use, no means to commit the murder, and most importantly, no motive. There's no possible way for Jake Hunter to be the culprit.
Alex, you're a genius.
Order! Order in the court! What an impressive path of deduction, Mr. Lykos. It seems certain this time that the defendant could not have been the killer. Mr. Ratigan, do you have any kind of rebuttal? It seems that the prosecution has fallen silent. Well, if no one has anything to add, then I think it's time for a proper verdict to be passed. This court finds the defendant, Jake Hunter...
Objection! Now hold on just a second here. You can't end this trial at all. There's tons of pieces missing.
Who's there? Who objected?
That's me, Your Honor. Here I am in the flesh. I'm gonna make sure this trial goes in the right direction.
And just who the hell are you?
Looks like not even Ratigan saw this one coming.
Name's Evan, and there's something I gotta say outright here. Prosecution, the defense, the judge, you're all idiots. You know he's guilty, and I'll help you realize it. And you 4 witnesses there. Think of your games, punks. You can do a better job than that. I know of more evidence that we can talk about here, so let's get to it.
You seem very enthusiastic.
We're missing something?
You're crazy, kid. Trial's over now.
Please, don't waste your time.
Hey, think I objected with nothing to back myself up? I've got plenty to talk about. We could be here for a long while.
If these witnesses so insistent, then I say we give him a chance. I suppose we'll have to allow the witnesses time to come up with this new testimony on whatever this new evidence is.
Please tell me you saw this coming, guys.
Can't say that I did.
This will be a very interesting battle, won't it?
By the looks of things, I can definitely say this trial is far from over. To be continued.